Welcome back, everybody, to Just Keep Parenting. Thank you for joining us again. I've had a few parents, past teachers, during the past couple of weeks send emails or talk to me in the booth about some of my favorite books as far as children, not necessarily children's books. I will just mention one that I have absolutely loved this summer, is The Magical Yet. Discover how good you can get, right? And so we talk a lot about the power of yet in our classroom. So this is one of my favorite children's books, and maybe I should do another post on that. But today I'm going to talk about professional books that have helped me with my teaching of the university students, as well as learning more about children and the emotional social aspect that we deal with a lot. And so that's what I'm going to do today. I had a past student this week, and I just thought, you know what, I need to put this out on Just Keep Parenting as well. So that's what I'm going to do today in the section that describes what we're going to talk about. I'm going to list them. So don't get worried that you have to write all these down, because they are listed there. All right. So let's start with my favorite one, which is what we've been talking about, right, for the last how many months now, is Easy to Love, Difficult to Discipline by Becky Bailey. And I looked for that book today. I just made the last video of it, and for the life of me, I can't find it. So I don't know if I let a parent have it this week or what I did, but you can look back on other videos and you can see the cover, but it is called Easy to Love and Difficult to Discipline. The other one is Choose Your Words, which is a book that I use in the classroom and when I teach teachers. So it's Choose Your Words, Communicating with Young Children, and it's by Carol Mooney. But we have used this for probably the last 4 years, probably last 8 years, but there's a new edition out. It used to be called Use Your Words, and now it's called Choose Your Words. So I do love this. It is mostly teaching, but it really does give parents a good idea of how to communicate with younger children, because sometimes we communicate like we communicate to older children, and they don't understand, right? They don't understand the wishy-washiness. They don't understand the phrases that we use, right? And so this is a good book to help understand that. The Zookeeper's Secret, back in the day when he first published this was called Calling, and it was called Gospel Truths to Guide Your Quest for Passionate, Purposeful Work. And it was printed by BYU, but now they have a different printer, and it's called The Zookeeper's Secret. And it just talks about really, again, finding purposeful and passionate work, right? And this was one of the books that I read for one of my grad programs, and I absolutely loved it. But I still have the old copy and not the new copy. The next one is Mind in the Making by Galinsky. This is a book that really helped me to understand, right, the 7 essential life skills every child needs. And so I think after I read this book is kind of when I thought, you know what, academics are so important, but what we're finding from big companies like Google is that they're needing people to have soft skills and not so many of the hard skills. And so this is the book that kind of changed my, helped me change my paradigm shift, that I needed to be working with children and helping them with their social and emotional abilities, right? Today I just had a chat with a teacher. There was a child that I was observing her for her center, and there was a child who just kept saying, the blue one has holes in it. The blue one has holes in it. The blue one has holes in it, right? And she was talking to another child, and so as she and I debriefed, I said to her, you know, that's kind of like somebody poking you. The blue one has holes in it. The blue one has holes in it. And I said, did you like that? And she's like, well, no. And I said, that's our teaching time. That is our teaching time to say to this little guy, buddy, I'm talking to her right now because my eyes are looking at her. So you can hold my hand if you'd like to wait. But when I'm looking at somebody else, that means I'm talking to them, right? So just having that conversation is one of those 7 essential skills that kids just don't get. They just don't pick it up, right? That's not how they were born. And so we have to help them with those things. And so this is one of my favorite books. Raising an Emotionally Intelligent Child. John Gottman wrote this book, and it just really helps us figure out and this is about the heart of parenting, right? But this really is about how do we help children. Well, it goes back to the Mr. Rogers, right? How do we help children be helpers, right? How do we help children be okay with who they are, right? And I just loved this book. I wish that we could get him to come to BYU. We get a lot of people to come to BYU. This one right here that's called Putting Family First. This is by Dr. Doherty and Barbara Carlson. But he spoke at BYU a few years ago, and I fell in love with his work because he talks a lot about how successful strategies for reclaiming family life in a hurry-up world, right? And he gives us, I think, pretty, well, they're very successful, but I think they're pretty easy to implement, right? We just have to kind of get back to the basics sometimes. And so Putting Family First is another one of my favorite ones. We had a parent in the booth this week that was talking about sibling rivalry, right? And this has been my go-to for that. How to help your children live together so you can live too. But it's written by two authors. It's a mother and daughter duo. And they wrote How to Talk So Kids Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk. It's kind of an old book, but it's still one of the best sellers as far as parenting goes. But when I teach the parenting class, this is one of the books that I refer to a lot. And so this was written by them as well. Okay. Next on the list is one of my new favorites. I'm a fan of anything that Mr. Rogers has written. I have all of his works up here. But this is one that I hadn't written. And I'm a part of the Fred Rogers Institute this year. And this is one of the books that one of the educators mentioned. And it's When You Wonder, You're Learning. Mr. Rogers' Enduring Lessons for Raising Creative, Curious, Caring Kids. So anything that has Mr. Rogers' stamp on it, I'm always a fan to read, just because I think he was sent here for a lot of people, right? To help us figure out how to look for the good in others and help us how to be helpers. And we can teach that at a young age. So that's another one of my faves. Quiet. This was given to me by a parent. Well, not given, but we talked about it in the booth because all of their kids are introverts. And they said, they come by it well because we're both introverts. But this book was amazing and it changed my life. It didn't change my life. It changed my thinking about how I can be helpful to introverts, right? I have to be a little bit of an extrovert in my life just because of what I do, but I love to have some time just to recharge my batteries when I've had too many people in my life. So this book really helped me to figure out the power of introverts in a world that can't stop talking. So here again, another great book if you've got some introverts or if you are an introvert in your life. Managing Emotional Mayhem, right? This is a Becky Bailey book, but she talks about I am, I calm, I feel, I choose, I solve. We have this up in our classroom so that when children do have a meltdown, that we can go over and we can talk about how do I calm myself down? What am I feeling? What am I going to choose to do because of those feelings, right? And how do I solve my problem? But Managing Emotional Mayhem has really helped some of my teachers understand the breakdown, the meltdowns that sometimes happen with children. The Whole Brain Child. This is something that we use here for our parenting class that is taught by our MFT people. But it's 12 revolutionary strategies to nurture your child's developing mind. So it's a great book about that whole brain, right? Not just that academic piece, but that whole brain and how we help that. We've talked about putting family first. Another one is Mindset right here. So this was a book that there again I read for one of my grad programs, and it I've always been kind of a glass half full kind of gal, but this kind of helped me learn how we can learn to fulfill our potential, right? In parenting, in business, in school, and in relationships. But I do refer to this book on a regular basis. Along that line, there's a couple of other books that I love that don't have anything to do with teaching or parenting, but just have to do with life that have helped me that I continue to go back to. And that is this one called Choosing Civility, the 25 Rules of Considerate Conduct, right? as I'm trying to work with university students as well as littles, this book has really helped me to focus on civility has to be taught. And these are some things that I have loved to teach my students. Another one, Dennis Prager, you might know him, he's a radio syndicate, but happiness is a serious problem, right? I do think that there is a lot of people who struggle with mental health, right, with depression and whatnot. I've been one of them in my past. But I do think that, this comes back to my mother's make it a great day versus have a good day, which is why you see it on my car, which is why you see it in my classroom, in my house, and my nephews and nieces' houses, because I think that a human nature repair manual. I'm not sure that I love that piece, but I love the fact that we can choose, right? When we're in a good spot mentally, we can choose to be happy, to have a good day, right? And so this is another one of my favorite books. So I think I have kind of given you all of them. I can't think of any others right now, but as I do, I can update that on the video. But these are some that I have used recently and in past years. As you can see over here, I have lots of children's books and lots of adult books that I continue to look at when I need questions, when parents have questions, when students have questions. But this is a good list today. So thank you for joining us. And if you want to talk about any of the books, I'm more than willing to talk about it in the comments. So make it a great day, everybody.